Hi, boys and girls. How's it going? Are you ready for science? We have a fun science lesson planned for today. What I want you to do before we get started is I want you to think about the models that I had you make last week, those sun and earth models. Those sun and earth models will help you with your lesson this week. It all will come together. All right. So if it was a drawing, I want you to grab that drawing. If it was something that you actually created and you can hold, I want you to go grab it. Okay. And if you don't have either of those things, I want you to look through your science papers. Look for the sun and earth worksheet because that will help you too. All right. Let's get started. So this might look familiar to you guys. I showed you this a few months ago now. It says seasonal changes. And the first time we saw these two words together, we were not sure what they meant. We know what seasons are, and we know that the seasons change, but we weren't sure what seasonal changes were. So I asked you a few times, what is a seasonal change? And you guys got really good at understanding what seasonal changes are. We learned that when the seasons change, there are things outdoors in nature that change as well. And I showed you these few pictures of the seasons. We know that animal behavior changes when the seasons change. Some animals migrate, some animals hibernate. The trees change in color, that's the one we're focusing on. Sunlight hours. Remember, we learned about how we have different amounts of sunlight depending on what season it is. And lastly, the temperature or the weather changes. And then we took a look at this picture, right? It looks like somebody drew a tree and drew the tree in each of the 4 seasons. And I had you guys help me label these because I told you that we would be doing our own tree observations throughout each season. And we already did our fall tree observation. I bet you know what we're doing today. It is a new season. Who knows what season it is? Go ahead, shout it out. It is winter, so we are going to do our winter tree observations today. And I know that this is already something you did in kindergarten. You guys are really, really good at observing with your eyes and then drawing what you observe. But remember, in first grade, we're taking it one step further. We want to know, why do the trees change, right? And this is when your models will help you. The models that you created last week, right? We know that the amount of sunlight hours change depending on the seasons. And if you look at this picture of the sun setting, I bet you can make a prediction what season it is. Look at those trees. Do those look like summer trees? Mm-mm. Do those look like spring trees? Mm-mm. They could be fall trees, but I bet this picture was taken in the wintertime. Look how bare those trees are. And the sun is going down early in the day. What we're going to do today is we are going to watch this quick video about the sunlight hours throughout the seasons. And you will be able to see a model of the sun and the earth, and it's a really great model because it shows us exactly when we have more hours of sunlight and when we have less hours of sunlight. So if you have your model with you, you can use your model while you're watching the video. If you didn't do your model yet, you can do it while you are watching the video. So you might want to grab some crayons right now.
Today we're going to look at patterns of day and night to answer the question, why does the length of day change from summer to winter? Let's start with some background knowledge about the Earth. The Earth is separated into 2 halves by an imaginary line called the equator. The half of Earth that is between the equator and the North Pole is called the Northern Hemisphere, while the half of Earth that is between the equator and the South Pole is called the Southern Hemisphere. There's also another imaginary line that runs through the Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole, and this is called the Earth's axis. The Earth rotates or spins on this axis, and it makes a full rotation every 24 hours. Now, let's look and see how the Earth and Sun relate to each other. What causes day and night? Well, the half of Earth that is facing the Sun is illuminated by the Sun's light, and in that half, it's daytime. The half that is facing away from the Sun is in darkness, and it is nighttime in that half. Now, in this diagram, the Earth's axis is straight up and down compared to the Sun, but that's not actually what the Earth looks like. If this were true, almost everywhere on Earth would be in the light for half of the day and in dark for half of the day, meaning that they would have equal days and nights all of the time. But the Earth is not straight up and down. It is tilted at an angle of 23.3 degrees. Because of this, the northern hemisphere is pointed towards the Sun at this time of year. In this picture, it's June. What do you notice about the amount of light compared to the amount of darkness now in the northern hemisphere? Well, the northern hemisphere now is getting a lot more sunlight than it did when the Earth was straight up and down. This means that the days will be longer than 12 hours. It's also a lot less darkness in the northern hemisphere, meaning the nights will be shorter than 12 hours. In the northern hemisphere, this is our summertime. The northern hemisphere is not always pointed towards the Sun, though, because the Earth also revolves around the Sun. It takes 1 year or 12 months to complete one full orbit. In this diagram, the Earth only completed half of its orbit, so that would only be 6 months after June, which is December. Now, in December, the northern hemisphere is now pointing away from the Sun. The side closest to the Sun is in daytime, and the side facing away is nighttime. Let's compare the amounts of sunlight and darkness in the northern hemisphere now that it's December. The amount of darkness is now much greater than the amount of sunlight that the northern hemisphere receives. This means that the days will be shorter during December and the nights will be longer. In the northern hemisphere, this is winter time.
So I hope that it was helpful to have your own model in front of you while you were watching that video. What I want you to do is use that information as we go into today's activity. And what I mean by that is, you know what trees need to survive, correct? You know that they need air, water, soil, and sunlight. So if trees are getting less sunlight all winter long, that has to be why those changes are happening. And I can't wait to see what types of changes you have in your drawings. I want you to pull this worksheet out of that new packet that I sent you. You can just rip it right out of the packet. And just like last time when we did our fall tree observation, we will do the information page all together, all right? And then you will do your winter drawing on your own. So let's just get the information page out. And a pencil, please. First, we need to fill out the date. It is January what? 2021. What is today's date? It is January 13th, 2021. Please go ahead and fill that out. Then we need to fill in the next sentence. It says, the season is. What season is it? It is winter. And I'm going to write that word winter with a capital W. Next part we have to fill out. Today the temperature is. You can ask a grown-up to help you look up the temperature. When I look up the temperature, it says 37 degrees. So that's what I'm going to write on this small line, 37. And remember that degree symbol, it looks like a little tiny bubble. 37 degrees. Next, we need to circle how it feels outside. It feels cold, cool, warm, or hot. How does it feel outside today? It feels cold. Go ahead and circle the word cold. Last part on our information page, it says, today the leaves on my tree look. Can we finish that sentence right now? Today the leaves on my tree look. No, we cannot finish that sentence because we don't know what the leaves on our tree look like. We have not done the observation yet. So you're going to leave the bottom of your information page blank, leave it like this, and then after you do your tree observation, you will come back and fill this out. So if you're not done filling this out, you can just pause the video so that you can complete this. When you are done, you already know what to do. You will pull out your blank observation page. You will grab a pencil and some crayons, and you will go to a window so that you can see a tree. If you want, you can go outside, but you must get permission from a grown-up to do that. Remember, when we do our drawings, we want to draw exactly what we observe. So I'm not going to see rainbow tree trunks. I'm not going to see purple leaves on the tree. I want you to carefully observe with your eyes and draw exactly what you see. And if you want to take it a step further and label your tree drawing, that is a fabulous idea. When you are all done, I want you to take a picture of your work so that I can see it. I hope you have fun doing your tree observation.